In today's show, we look ahead to Saturday's action in the NBA, streaming options, and Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com and at Yahoo Sports Australia. And you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_bball and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. We're going to look ahead to Saturday's action, what to watch for in the game, some streaming options, but you know how we've been starting the show over the last couple of months. I throw it over to Warne. He tells Gilly to get it on, and we all laugh. As many of you know, overnight, Warne died. Warne, if you don't know who that is Shane Warne, who is literally the best cricket player that I've ever seen play. Had some detractors for sure with some of his off-field antics. People didn't like him in the commentary box, all that sort of stuff. But legitimately one of the best, if not the best cricketer, or definitely the best cricketer, in my opinion, that I ever saw play. And last night, age 52, he passed away of a heart attack, which is not ideal, obviously, for him or for anybody involved. So we'll do it. We'll drop the gilly. I wasn't sure if I was going to drop the gilly today, just because it feels weird. But Warnie, what do you think?
Let's get it on, Gilly.
Ha ha. Sad times. All right, let's look at the games. First one is the Kings and the Mavericks. Dante DiVincenzo is really starting to, I think, establish himself as that shooting guard. He's not there yet, and he's not a must-roster player by any means, because he has to really break the shackles of the Holiday, Lamb, Mitchell triumvirate of terribleness. He has to get out of that. He has to play 31. He's getting 26. He's getting 27. Those other blokes are getting pushed back. He's clearly, I think, the better option, especially for a team as dumb as they are pushing for win now. Like, if you want to look for the future, it's him or Mitchell, and I think he's much better than Mitchell personally. So if they actually wanted to do the right thing by their fans and fan base, of course it's the Kings, so they don't. But if they did want to do the right thing, that he'd be the guy they'd prioritize. So we're really watching that situation closely, and I don't mind him as a stream option just to see if any of these numbnuts in that organization get their head on straight. We also want to watch De'Aaron Fox, who really is putting up huge numbers. And when I had him really high at the start of the year, this is what I thought I'd get. I didn't think I'd get the guy who'd petulantly sulk because Tyrese Halliburton was better than him. I didn't think I'd get the guy that would forget how to shoot every shot in the book and would look completely disinterested at all times. But he got his way. Halliburton was traded, and now he's putting up big numbers as they continue to lose. So congratulations. I have players who really get on my nerves. He's one of them at the moment. Jeremy Grant, who's less on my nerves now because he's playing a little bit better. But this bloke, right up the top of my shit list at the moment, really annoys me, but the numbers are really, really good. For the Mavericks, Spencer Dinwiddie looks great. Now, someone criticized Dinwiddie on Twitter, saying, you bum ass, whatever, which is shit. You never do that to players. Saying, why can you do this in Washington? What's your problem? Why did you hate us? Blah, blah, blah. And then he came back and he said, look, at the start of the season, I was 7 months removed from an ACL tear, which is obviously ridiculously quickly. And he goes, now it's like 14 months, which is not quite exactly right in terms of maths, but actually it's not far off. No, it is 14 months. And he said, well, that's what's happened. Now, that's fine, Spencer, but the first game you played in Dallas, you were shithouse. The last game you played before the trade, you were terrible as well. So it's not just being 13 months, 14 months removed from an ACL injury. You were bad in Washington, and it wasn't just that. You didn't miraculously get healthy moving on to Dallas. But the situation's obviously much better for him. And he's putting up good numbers, and he should be on a 12-team roster. It's been a dramatic turnaround. Also want to watch Dorian Finney-Smith, who's getting a lot of minutes. The shooting can go up and down, and the overall upside's relatively low. But there's enough value there in Finney-Smith to be a 12-team league player. Speaking of guys who have been shithouse for all of their career but are playing well at the moment, the Spurs taking on the Hornets. Lonnie Walker on an absolute hot streak at the moment. Now, he does nothing apart from score. We all know that. But he's scoring in such large quantities and doing it relatively efficiently, that there's value there. In a points league, sure, absolutely a 12-team league player. In a category league, he's a guy where you go, let's try it out while the hot streak's going. And then when he has the inevitable 10 points on 14 shots with 1 rebound, you go, all right, thanks, Lonnie. I'll see you later. And we'll just forget this ever happened. But for now, he's playing well. And with him playing well, Keldon Johnson was absolutely dreadful last game. He played only 16 minutes. Now, prior to that, he'd been getting a ton of minutes and he'd been playing well. I think we get somewhat of a bounce back from Keldon. But he's the guy that, again, if the shot's not there, what else is he doing? He's not getting assists or steals or blocks. He's not hitting free throws. He's not hitting threes. I mean, he hits them at a good percentage. He just doesn't do good volume on them. So he is quite a volatile fantasy player. For the Hornets, they are souring on Montrezl Harrell, I guess would be a fair way of phrasing it. 23, 21, 25, and 17 minutes the last 4 games as Plumlee and Washington are taking that role. You know, rightfully so, because Montrezl Harrell is the guy that goes out to bully second units and score and be a complete negative in nearly every other area. And the Hornets aren't having it. Is he a drop? As I am want to say, it's not a bad move if you want to do it. Speaking of players, well, actually not speaking of, because this guy's killing it. Terry Rozier is dominating. He's shooting the lights out. Last year, he took a gigantic step forward in his shooting, and I was skeptical that you would maintain a 10 percentage point, 2-point percentage increase, which he did. And at the start of the year, he didn't do that. It dropped way back off, but it's back up. The shooting is efficient, and now he's saying, oh, you know, don't worry about this. I'm going to average 7 assists a game as well. I don't know where this is coming from, but he is dominating. A guy that I've changed my mind on a lot. He's been so impressive over these last 2 to 3 months, and let's just see whether he's going to be able to keep that going. BetOnline keeps it going because now that football's over, there's other things to focus on. That is basketball, pro, college hoops. BetOnline has everything that you need. From all the latest odds, totals, and player performance props, BetOnline.net is your number one spot for all of your sports betting needs. BetOnline remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline.net is your source for hockey, boxing, and UFC odds as well. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and the action. BetOnline is where the game starts. Sixers Heat. Are we going to get DeAndre Jordan's first game for Philadelphia? Now, I write him here as something I want to watch because I want to see how terrible a decision it is to play him. Watch him come out and have 9 rebounds in 18 minutes and people go, do we add DeAndre Jordan? Joel Embiid handcuff? And I say, no, what are you talking about? But he will inevitably do that. He'll probably come out and look absolutely horrific out there. But we know Doc Rivers loves the bloke. So let's see what happens, I guess. More just for the car crash potential. And I want to watch James Harden. Not because there's anything to do with dropping or adding or trading or anything. But can he be the number one guy for the rest of the season? I think it's possible. He's been really, really good. For the Miami Heat, Caleb Martin was excellent last game. Very, very good. Without Jimmy Butler, without Kyle Lowry, without PJ Tucker. I don't know if those guys are going to play in this game. So where does Martin fit? Where does Martin fit when Victor Oladipo returns? He's played some really good minutes lately. 29, 25, 20, and 37, Caleb. But that's, again, with a bunch of players out. Is it him? Is it Vincent? Is it Strus? Like, which guys miss it out? Which guys get the minutes? How does it all work? If we have 2 of those 3 out, Lowry and Butler in particular, Martin's a 12-team league guy. I always want to watch Duncan Robinson, mainly so I can tell people to drop him again. I don't know why he is rostered in anywhere near as many leagues as he is, over 50%. It makes no sense to me at all. And surely those people... Now, are you listening to this podcast and you're in a 12-team league and you rostered Duncan Robinson? If you are, can you tell me why? Can you just drop it in the comments below? I reckon I've said it 100 times this year that he's a droppable player, and you do not have to listen to anything that I say at all. You can listen and laugh. You don't have to take any of the advice that I suggest. But why are you holding him? I just like to know the rationale behind why I am just seeing this and being flabbergasted every time I see that he's rostered, and people still holding him. Let me know. It makes no sense to me, but maybe there's something that I'm completely missing there. Let's go to the next one. It is the Trailblazers and the Timberwolves. Drew Eubanks has signed another 10-day. Hopefully they give him rest of season value. He's starting. He is the guy to me at this point over Trendon Watford, although Watford played 30 minutes last game in the blowout, got all of the garbage time minutes. But Eubanks is providing some back-end 12-team value. Can he keep that up? I don't know whether Justice Winslow is going to play. If Winslow misses this one, it's really hard to hold, given the Achilles soreness bullshit that plagued Brogdon, that is fake plaguing Eric Bledsoe at the moment. Do they just sit him down for an extended period of time? If Winslow's in here, I'm pretty excited. But Josh Hart, he's last 3 games, 27, 31, and 23 minutes. They've all been absolute smackings. The Blazers, by the way, have lost 3 games in a row by over 30 points, or by at least 30 points. Yeah, they saw those 4 games that they won prior to the trade deadline and said, you guys, you're joking. We're not doing this. What are you talking about? And they've gone hard in the other direction. But that's limiting Hart's value. And if you're in a shallow format, an 8-teamer, I'm not sure he's a hold. If the minutes are going to be down like this, Simon's under 30 the last 3 as well. Really hard to get excited about that. For the Wolves, Goose, Anthony Edwards. Now, the Wolves' next 3 games, they play the Thunder on Friday, the Blazers on Saturday, and the Blazers on Monday. Now, the Thunder's playing well, of course. But if there was ever a chance that you wanted to rest Edwards for an extended period of time, these 3 games would be it. I don't know whether Edwards is going to play on Saturday. I already know he's out on Friday. I don't know whether he's going to play on Saturday. But there's opportunities for both Jaden McDaniels, who will likely start, and for Malik Beasley, who played pretty well on Tuesday. On the deeper formats, Jordan McLaughlin, played 29 minutes last game. He was really good. I don't think that's a realistic expectation, but there is a real opportunity for him and for Beasley and for McDaniels to stick their noses into 12-team league areas. The Magic, the Grizzlies, Chuma Akiki. Has not been good for Chuma. Hasn't. The last couple of games have been bad. 24 and 17 minutes. That has coincided with Markelle Fultz's return. Now, it doesn't make any sense to me that he would impact him, but it's more that Mo Bamba's gone over 30 in those 2. If Bamba plays 30, is Akiki going to be a drop? The direction's heading that way real quick. Now, prior to that, he'd gone 32, 29, and 31 minutes, and he was flying as a top 70 guy, top 60 guy. And now they've just said, all right, you're playing too well, maybe? We've got to drop your numbers? I don't know. It's weird. I want to watch Markelle Fultz as well. Again, as I've said repeatedly, I don't think he's a 12-team league player. By the time we hit March 28th, maybe he is, but I don't think the hold up until then is worth the potential maybe solid, decent, below-average playoff. I don't see it, but it's great that he's back. For the Grizzlies, Des Bane is struggling. We know this. I don't think it's anything to panic. We don't have to drop him. Dylan Brooks is probably returning next week, I would guess. But Bane, we want to see a little bit more out of him. While Kyle Anderson, big numbers recently. He was basically on the way out of the rotation. He'd played 4 games under 17 minutes, and then he went 29, 24, 24, and generating some pretty good numbers. Taking some minutes away from Zaire Williams. The John Conchar injury had helped. Brandon Clark lost some playing time to Anderson. Are they going to go back in that direction? Kyle's not going to be a 12-team league player, but he is impacting other guys. The next game, which is the last game of the day, it is the Warriors and the Lakers. Saw an interesting stat. Don't know who it was that tweeted it out, but talking about how the Warriors were flying with Draymond, even with Draymond out. They'd started Otto Porter and they went like 8-1 or something in the 9 games they started Otto Porter. And then Steve Kerr dicked around and he started John Kuminga and he started Gary Payton and he limited Otto Porter, and they've been bad. Like Otto Porter, while he's not flashy, is actually a really good and useful player. But starting these other guys who put up numbers, like Kuminga at times, or Payton, who provides defense, it hasn't worked. So what will they do? Will it be Payton that starts again? I guess so. But I don't think he's a 12-team league player. There's just not enough upside there, steel streamer. I don't think Kuminga's the option. And what do they do with Modi Muzi?
When you look at Moses Moody.
Thanks, Perk. Sorry. Moses Moody. What do they do with him? Because he was great last game. I really, really like this bloke as a player. I don't think there's anywhere near enough minutes or production there for that to matter for most formats, but I like to see what he looks like. And for the Lakers, I want to avoid watching them as much as possible because at this point it's just embarrassing, really. Like sometimes it's fun to dunk on the Lakers. Actually, nearly always it is. It's fun to dunk on incompetence, but at this point it's embarrassing to watch them just get smacked repeatedly. They've lost 6 out of their last 7. 7 out of their last 8. With that weird comeback win against the Jazz, the only victory. 2 20-point losses in their last 3 games. At least they're back to starting Malik Monk, who I think is a 12-team league player. But the roster's just bad. It's just really bad. Monk is a 12-team league guy, so let's see what he does. And Carmelo Anthony, I think, is a 12-team league player. But Dwight Howard, where are his minutes going to go? Stanley Johnson, where's he there? Taylor Horton-Tucker's got an ankle sprain, didn't play last game, even though he was ruled active and probable before the game. I'd like to see a little bit of Wenyen Gabriel, but I don't know what we're going to get from this team on a game-by-game basis. So We want to watch to see what can transpire. Maybe they need a box of Built Bars. Maybe I should send it directly to Crypto.com Arena. Is that what it's called? Because Built Bars are the best tasting protein bar ever. It feels like the Lakers are just eating your old standard protein bars, and they can't even get it down. That's how lacking they are, because it tastes so bad. Built Bar tastes great. It tastes like a candy bar, but it's low in calories, low in fat, low in sugar, low in carbs, but high in protein, 17 grams per bar. So, why don't you go to Built.com and look at the amazing range of flavors. Plus, their puffs. Have you tried that? Protein-infused marshmallowy goodness. That is one of the sentences of the year. I'm sure Merriam-Webster's is going to put it up there. Word of the year, marshmallowy. So go to Built.com, use the promo code LOCKED15, and get 15% off your order of Built Bars. Built Bar is built different. Back-to-back streams. The only team we're looking at here is the Grizz, really. They're the only ones we've got options for. So, Kyle Anderson, Tyus Jones, Zaire Williams. Of course, if Brandon Clark's available, if DeAnthony Melton's available, they're not in most spots, but if they are, they're great streams as well. If we're looking just at Saturday's action, Dwight Powell, didn't mention this before, but Maxi Kleber is out. Did I even talk about the Mavericks? I feel like I didn't even talk about it. Oh, I did. Yeah, I talked about Spencer, didn't we? Maxi Kleber is out. So Dwight Powell's probably going to get good minutes. Really, really think that he is an interesting stream option. Played, what did he play last game? 33 minutes. And if you're looking for a big man who can be good at percentages, get some steals, score, rebound, there's not going to be many guys available who are better than Powell, and he's widely available. With no Kleber, he is going to get good minutes. Gary Payton's a good stream. Drew Eubanks. You can throw Trendon Watford in there as well. Jaden McDaniels, Dante DiVincenzo, Kyle Anderson, Kevon Looney, Otto Porter, maybe, if they give you more minutes. Trendon Watford, as I said. Trey Lyles, that's pretty gross, but maybe. Deeper leagues, we're looking at Jeremy Lamb, CJ Allaby, Cody Martin, Greg Brown III, Nazareth Reed, the artist formerly known as Torian Prince, Tyus Jones, Joshy Green, Dougie McDirt, and The Undertaker, Dwayne Dedman. And then lastly, for points leagues, Beverly, Clark, Dwighty Powell, again, Reggie Bullock, DeAnthony Melton, Malik Monk, Drew Eubanks, Mason Plumlee, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Kyle Anderson. And that, guys, will do it for me today. Don't forget to follow this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on the Odyssey app. If you're here on YouTube, thumb it up. Leave your comments down below, guys. We are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.